is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And Bitcoin is getting a little bit of a pump right now, so I wanted to drop this quick market update as we have broken above key resistance and we have some major targets ahead. Is Bitcoin headed to $95,000 to $97,000, a key level we've been looking at for quite some time? Well, I'm going to break it down all in today's video. We're going to talk about the trades and what I'm expecting next here for the Bitcoin price. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart, and as you can see here, Bitcoin getting a little bit of a pop to the upside, cruising into the value area high of our local range that we were looking at yesterday. Now, if you guys have been tuning into the live streams, you will know this is the local range we have been looking at, and last week we were waiting for Bitcoin to eventually get a drop down to our golden pocket. On Friday, we were kind of hovering around this level. We front ran it very slightly, but as always, guys, when you front run those key levels, it is a much higher probability that price will eventually come down and tap that level. And you can see here, almost like it's programmed into the price, Bitcoin attempted to push up. This is why we do not FOMO into early positions, and Bitcoin did eventually wind up coming down and wicking directly into our golden pocket. Now, this did something very important. It did give us the golden pocket retracement, opening up the door for a potential higher low before seeing a higher high come in, which we have now just done here, breaking above the highs here at about $94,185. So absolutely beautiful there. And last night on the live stream, we had two key levels of support below us. Now, of course, Bitcoin did not get the full rotation all the way to the value area low, and that is why we always look at support and resistance as a zone and not just one direct level. You can see here we did not push deeper into that zone, but we did tap the golden pocket, and like I said, that did open up the door to put in that higher high, and Bitcoin has finally just done that. And as a matter of fact, we almost had the exact same situation play out last night, where we had a local golden pocket retracement here that we were front running. Now, we weren't just front running the golden pocket here, we were also front running this daily naked point of control. And in our premium live stream yesterday, we were seeing price approach this daily naked point of control, but we front ran it, and more specifically, we front ran it with absolutely no bullish confirmations. We had no bullish divergences or anything like that. And of course, the same exact thing happens. We start to get the push to the upside. A lot of people probably get excited about that, but we end up just rejecting the POC. And finally, again, like it is programmed into price, we push into that golden pocket daily MPOC. We technically front ran the golden pocket, but we did tap that daily naked point of control with finally bullish confirmations here on Market Cipher B with our bullish divergences. And what happens? Of course, we got a little bounce here, but it's not until you come down and tap that key level, again, like it is programmed into price, you come down, you wick into that daily MPOC, and eventually see that much bigger move to the upside. Now, I am holding the long position here, up almost $6,000 here on the long, guys, with a final target of about $95,000, which of course is going to be our next major resistance level that we have been covering forever. And you can see we do have some confluent daily naked points of controls as well as a weekly MPOC, and we also have the point of control of our macro range sitting right in the middle of that zone. And that was kind of the hope here, guys, and this is still going to be the next target to the upside. We have this major level of resistance above, we have the POC of the range, and of course, as we've looked at on almost every single live stream here for the past month or so, this value area low is absolutely key to get above. We were hitting our head, we tried to break above it, we lose it again, but of course, on every rejection, we end up putting in a high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, and we were hoping for that higher high, looking to take out some of that liquidity that we had above here, above those highs. And you can see Bitcoin has beautifully come up, seeked out that liquidity, and swept it as of right now. And I am hoping that we can eventually get a move up to this level, guys. This key zone has been on the chart for quite some time. We did front run it here. We did catch the short position in the premium Discord, because when we look at this from a local context, it was simply a deviation above the value area with our beautiful bearish divergences. We caught that short to the downside, closed it in profit, and then eventually we did put in that higher low and the higher high to continue our uptrend here to allow our long positions to continue playing out. But I just wanted to drop this quick market update and let you guys know, we do still have this major zone of resistance sitting between about $95,000 and $97,500. This is the next major target I will be looking at. I would love for this level to get hit. And if we do end up getting the move up there, guys, the macro viewpoint does remain the same. Of course, we have come down to major support here between about $82,000 and $85,000. So if we are hoping for a bigger retracement, we have to pray that we are going to hold on top of this 786 sitting at about $85,550. So if we're going to get that bigger retracement back into this volume profile, which is what we were hitting our head on last night, we are now obviously above this level. So as long as we can remain above this value area low, sitting at about $91,300, even if we have to get some kind of a pullback, we are hoping that we can hold inside of this range and push up into that bigger zone of resistance. I am holding a small scalp short here as well, but for the bigger short positions and the bigger rejections, I will be looking at that 97 to 95K zone, where I will be interested in more short positions, but I am going to be very careful here, guys, because if we look at some of these medium hourly time frames, such as the 8-hour, you can see we are starting to get crossovers into the green here, indicating that we may be able to continue our higher low and higher high structure. So if we do come into that next zone and we do get rejections, of course, I am interested in those short positions, but we are going to be very careful. Of course, we're only going to take those shorts if we get the confirmations. If we don't get the confirmations, we will hold on tight to the longs and let those continue to play out. But if we do get the rejection there, guys, just understand 95 to 97K, big resistance. And if we do get that rejection, I am hoping that even if we do get the pullback there, we can hold support here on the value area low and potentially hold those higher lows, again, potentially being indicated here by the 8-hour time frame to put in a higher low, eventually flip that key level of resistance into support, which could eventually give us the bigger push up to our next major zone of resistance, which will be the biggest key level on the chart in my own personal opinion, guys. It is the 50-week moving average, which of course has been major resistance in similar situations in this exact part of the cycle that we've seen in the past. This is the biggest level of resistance on the chart. I show it almost every single day, guys. Once you close those multiple weekly candles below your 50-week moving average, we do oftentimes see retracements into that level, and it has proven to be impossible to get above. That does not mean that we can't get above it this time, but as of right now, that is going to be the biggest level. So if we do end up getting that retracement, of course, we're going to be careful of those rejections here at our next zone, which is going to be our next major target. I will expect volatility there and some noise. Of course, we do have FOMC this week, so that probably is going to add some crazy wicks to the upside and the downside, so be careful out there, Mafia. But if we are able to flip that level to support, guys, all eyes on the 102,300 all the way up to about 105,000, almost 106K. Another big zone of resistance, and in my opinion, the biggest level on the chart, because if this is going to play out like any of the previous cycles, guys, we could eventually just see a macro retracement into that 50-week moving average for a macro lower high and a bigger lower low to come in. Can't promise this is going to come in, but if it does, guys, I just want you to understand the importance of that level of resistance. If we end up flipping that, guys, we will genuinely be seeing something different on the charts that we have not seen in any other previous cycle, which of course is the flip of the 50-week moving average. At that point, guys, I am going to be looking to target finally the value area high of that range, which does sit at 116K. And of course, we do have local resistance here, but at the end of the day, guys, when we just look at this from a simple volume profile perspective, we take those MPOCs off the chart. Not that they're not important, but when you just look at this from a simple volume profile, guys, you flip the POC. At that point, eventually you can start to target the value area high of the range for the full fill of that volume profile. But the biggest wall here is going to be the 102.3, $205,000 level. Once we get above that, we have one more zone, but eventually we can start to target the value area high at $116,000. And this is, of course, also accompanied by a massive zone of liquidity sitting directly above those highs at about $116,000. We know liquidity acts as a magnet for price, so the closer we get to that level, the stronger we can expect that magnet to become. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I just want you guys to have the overall viewpoint of what this volume profile could potentially call for. I would really love to flip that $95,000 to $97,000 level to to support. Technically, that will open the door to 116K, but of course, we cannot ignore that major resistance ahead. We're going to take this level by level. I'm praying, guys, if we want new all-time highs, if we want to see this cycle play out different than the past, then we need to see the flip of that 50-week moving average. That would be the first sign, in my opinion, that we're seeing something different play out. But until then, I'm going to remain with my higher time frame bearish bias. If we start to flip that, we can start to change the sentiment a little bit. And of course, even if that sentiment is wrong, guys, you have to understand, just because the charts are calling for something, it does not mean it's 100% probability. So for me, that means if I see signs on the chart that are changing that sentiment, I have to flip-flop just as fast as the chart does. And if the charts are just wrong about that and we do fly up, of course, I am holding the long position from the low. That will continue to pay us out in a very, very beautiful way. We're going to try to catch those scalp shorts in the meantime. Be careful around those resistance levels, but just mark this level on your chart, guys, 95 to 97K. We've been talking about it for dang near a month now, ever since we lost this point of control, and we're just going to be viewing this as a simple volume profile, guys. Let's pray we can hold above the $91,300 level of support, continue up to that point of control, and then I'll check in with you guys to talk about what we're seeing up here. Is there going to be a high probability of coming down and then flipping this to support, or are we going to be looking for the massive lower high for massive lower lows to come? We don't want to get overly bullish just on these little pushes up, but locally, if we can make some money on those longs, we're absolutely going to do that. The Mafia makes money whether price goes up or down. Doesn't matter if you're long in the bottom before all-time highs or you're catching a little 2% retracement. There's plenty of money to take out of the market here every single day. And if we take a look at Ethereum, guys, of course, we were looking at Ethereum pretty much doing the same thing as Bitcoin, holding on top of our value area low, right? We were front running that golden pocket just like it's programmed into price. It wanted to come down over the weekend, come down and tap into that golden pocket before coming up to our next big target, which obviously was sitting here at the point of control of the range. Very simple strategy here, guys. Once you flip the value area low, hold it as support, the next target becomes the POC, which is confluent here with the golden pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement between 34.39 and 32.58. And of course, here we are sitting directly in that zone. Volume profiles playing out absolutely beautifully. Money flow looks very similar here on Ethereum with our 8-hour money flow crossover into the green. So if we can sustain this green wave and we could come up and keep this cooking to the upside, we could continue to look for potential higher lows and eventually higher highs. And the next major target, we're already at our first target, but the next one, if we're able to break above 34.37, hold that level as support, the next major level of resistance for Ethereum is going to be sitting here. It's a bit of a zone sitting between about 36.50 and 39.43. You have the golden pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement. The 786 is sitting right in line with that value area high. And we also have our anchored VWAP pulled from the current high here, coming right in the middle of that zone. So similar to Bitcoin's 50-week moving average, I would say this is currently going to be the most important level on Ethereum. We just have acceptance into the volume profile. We lose that value area high. We all know the highest probability there, especially with our money flow that was coming out like this. We are going to be expecting that POC to be the next stop for price. Any bounces from there with the money flow coming out is looked at as a lackluster retracement, lower highs and lower lows, targeting the value area low. And here we are now attempting to reclaim that value area low. So maybe we get the full fill here, but just understand you're sitting at resistance right now. But if we get the pullback, we really just want to hold on top of the value area low, which currently sits here at about 28.85 for Ethereum. As long as we can stay above that level, guys, even if we get the rejection here at the POC, we're going to be looking for a potential push through that range. So I'll keep you guys updated here as the price action develops. Absolutely beautiful moves here on Bitcoin, trading super technically, leaving no key levels untapped below. And always remember, guys, if you front run a level, you do not want to FOMO into positions. For me personally, guys, the only time I'm going to be looking for a trade or a move to play out in full is going to be when you have the confirmations. And just like I said, if you take anything away from this video, guys, we talked about the front run of this daily MPOC. You get the push up, very easy to FOMO into that move, but simply if you were just patient, you would have avoided that bad long position only to come down, tap your key level, then put in the bullish confirmations, and then send that sucker to the upside. Currently, Bitcoin holding the value area high as support right now. If we break back down into this value area high, we could potentially look for some bigger retracements back down to retest our POC, which is, of course, in beautiful confluence with that value area low. So the biggest level to hold on Bitcoin right now, $91,300. Whether we come up to the 95 to 97K zone first, or we come down from where we are now, if we end up breaking down, this is the biggest level of support to hold. It will continue to give us the higher low and higher high structure to continue that uptrend, whether it's into 95 to 97K, or if we do push up in here first, right, it could open the door to flip that POC and come into that bigger zone of resistance at that 50-week moving average. So not getting bearish here at support, guys. As bearish as I could be on the higher time frames, you know, we are never going to be looking for shorts down here. Only longs to be had on those moves to the downside, and we are now reaping the benefits of that. So guys, if you enjoy these free market updates, giving you guys the key levels, what I'm seeing on the charts here every single day, consider smashing that like button. We appreciate it more than you know. It helps us out a ton. That's all the time I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
At the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide.